Before our story begins, take a moment to slow down. Imagine a land where rivers gave birth to civilization, and the desert held secrets older than time. In the heart of ancient Mesopotamia once stood a city of legend, Babylon, a place of towering walls, powerful kings, and dreams carved into stone. It is said that here, against all odds, a garden rose above the sands, a place of flowing water, living green, and quiet wonder. Tonight, we journey back through myth and memory to uncover the story of Babylon and the mystery of the Hanging Gardens. As the sun slowly sinks beneath the horizon of ancient Mesopotamia, the desert begins to cool. The harsh light of day softens into warm shades of gold and amber. Shadows stretch across the land, and silence settles over the plains between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. In this quiet moment, it becomes easier to imagine a city that once stood here, vast, powerful, and unforgettable. A city whose name still echoes through history. Babylon. Babylon was not merely a place on a map. To the ancient world, it was an idea, a symbol of human ambition, divine order, and overwhelming beauty. It rose from the fertile soil of Mesopotamia, nourished by rivers that gave life to one of the earliest civilizations on Earth. Here, people learned to build, to write, to govern, and to dream beyond the limits of survival. Tall walls surrounded Babylon, so massive that travelers described them with awe and disbelief. Wide streets ran through the city, leading to temples, markets, and royal palaces. Towers and ziggurats reached toward the sky, as if humanity itself were trying to touch the realm of the gods. Babylon was designed to impress, to inspire fear and wonder, and to stand as proof of human greatness. At the height of its glory, Babylon flourished under the rule of King Nebuchadnezzar II. He was a ruler of immense power and vision. Through conquest and diplomacy, he expanded his empire. Through architecture and art, he transformed Babylon into the jewel of the ancient world. Yet behind the image of the mighty king stood a deeply human story, one shaped by longing, memory, and love. According to ancient accounts, Nebuchadnezzar married a princess from the land of Media, a mountainous region far from the flat plains of Babylon. Her name is often given as Amytis. She had grown up surrounded by green hills, flowing streams, and cool mountain air. When she arrived in Babylon, she found herself in a land of heat, dust, and endless horizons. Though she lived in a palace of unmatched luxury, her heart yearned for the landscapes of her homeland. Seeing her sadness, the king made a decision that would echo through history. He would bring the mountains to the desert. He would create a place of greenery and life where none should exist. Not for power, not for war, but for beauty, and perhaps for love. Thus was born the legend of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. The gardens were described as a series of rising terraces, built one upon another, forming an artificial mountain at the heart of the city. Stone platforms supported deep layers of earth, allowing trees and plants to grow high above the ground. From a distance, the gardens appeared to float, suspended in the air, heavy with greenery. Hence their name, the Hanging Gardens. Plants from distant lands were said to grow there: towering palm trees, flowering shrubs, fruit-bearing vines, and fragrant blossoms. Water flowed continuously through the gardens, cascading down stone steps and channels, filling the air with the sound of gentle streams. In the midst of the desert, the gardens created their own climate, cool, shaded, and alive. For those who walked among them, the gardens were more than beautiful. They were miraculous. To stand beneath leafy canopies while the desert burned beyond the walls must have felt like stepping into another world. Birds gathered there. The air carried the scent of damp soil and blossoms. It was a place where time seemed to slow, where the harshness of reality softened into calm. Yet the true wonder of the Hanging Gardens was hidden beneath their beauty. The greatest mystery was not what grew there, but how it survived. Babylon lay far from natural hills and springs. The gardens rose high above the ground. Somehow, water had to be lifted from the Euphrates River to the uppermost terraces, day after day, season after season. Ancient writers spoke of ingenious machines, rotating chains of buckets, hidden pumps, and mechanical systems driven by human or animal power. These mechanisms worked silently behind stone walls, delivering life-giving water to every level. If true, the gardens were not only a triumph of art and nature, but of engineering far ahead of its time. They required constant care, precise calculation, and deep understanding of mechanics. In a world without modern technology, such knowledge would have seemed almost magical. To the people of the ancient world, the Hanging Gardens symbolized mastery over nature. They were proof that order could rise from chaos, that life could flourish where death was expected. For a king, this was a powerful statement. It suggested divine favor, a ruler capable of reshaping the world itself. And yet, despite their fame, the Hanging Gardens remain one of history's greatest enigmas. Unlike other wonders of the ancient world, no physical remains have been conclusively identified. Archaeologists have uncovered ruins of Babylon, walls, gates, palaces, and streets. But no structure has been definitively proven to be the gardens. No inscriptions from Babylon itself clearly describe their construction. No reliefs depict their terraces in detail. What we know comes mostly from Greek and Roman writers who lived centuries after the supposed gardens were built. They relied on second-hand accounts, travelers' stories, and older texts that no longer survive. Over time, description may have blended with imagination and fact with legend. This absence of evidence has led some scholars to question whether the Hanging Gardens were ever in Babylon at all. An alternative theory suggests that the gardens were located in the city of Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire. There, archaeologists have discovered advanced irrigation systems and inscriptions describing magnificent royal gardens built by King Sennacherib. These texts speak of raised terraces, flowing water, and mechanical devices remarkably similar to later descriptions of the Hanging Gardens. It is possible that history confused two great cities, that the name Babylon became a symbol for grandeur, while the actual gardens stood elsewhere. Or perhaps the gardens existed in both imagination and reality, shaped by memory, storytelling, and time. Another possibility is simpler and perhaps more poetic. The gardens may have existed exactly as described, but were destroyed. Floods from the Euphrates, earthquakes, neglect, and war could have reduced them to rubble. Over centuries, stone could be reused, soil washed away, and all physical traces erased. Civilizations rise, and civilizations fall. Even the greatest wonders are not immune to time. Babylon itself eventually declined. Conquerors came. Empires shifted. The city was abandoned, its bricks taken for other buildings, its streets buried beneath sand. What was once the center of the world became a silent ruin beneath the desert sky. Yet the story of the Hanging Gardens refused to disappear. Why does this legend endure? Why do we still speak of gardens we cannot see, structures we cannot touch? Perhaps because the Hanging Gardens represent something deeply human. They are not merely a monument of stone, but of desire. The desire to recreate home in a foreign land. The desire to bring beauty into harshness. The desire to defy limits. They remind us that history is not only shaped by wars and kings, but by emotions, by longing, love, and imagination. Even if the gardens never existed exactly as described, they live on as an idea. An image of harmony between humanity and nature. A dream of green life rising above dust and heat. A reminder that people have always sought peace and beauty, even in the most powerful and violent empires. And so, when night falls over the ancient lands of Mesopotamia and the stars appear above the desert, one can almost hear it. The quiet sound of flowing water, the rustle of leaves in a warm breeze, the echo of a place that once may have been, or perhaps still is, alive in memory. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon may be gone, but their story continues to grow. In books, in imagination, in the timeless human need to believe that somewhere, even in the heart of a desert, a garden can bloom. As the story of Babylon fades into the silence of the desert, the legend of the Hanging Gardens remains, alive in memory and imagination. If this journey through the ancient world brought you calm, wonder, or inspiration, take a moment to support the channel by liking this video. Subscribe to stay with us on future journeys through lost civilizations, forgotten wonders, and the quiet mysteries of history. And share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe the Hanging Gardens truly existed? Or are they the most beautiful legend ever told?